Today I want to finish this Technics SL-1300. So it's my last opportunity to record for you a video where we will be addressing the last bits that I'm going to do on this turntable, and the last time we will see it from the inside. What I'm about to do today is to adequately loop these two potentiometers for the fine adjustment of the speed. And I will do that with fader grease that you see here. So these two potentiometers have already been cleaned. These were the source of the problem of the speed issues, although I also did clean the potentiometers that are in the circuit board. So they have been cleaned with deoxit D5. All fine, problem fixed. However, if you just clean them with deoxit, then as soon as you touch them, you disadjust them. So you have already, again, a slight deviation on your speed. So you want a loop that gives it a bit more heavier feel than the deoxit will do, the standard D5. You need that there is a bit of grease effectively that makes the twisting a little bit heavier on that potentiometer, so that when you are touching it, that it is not just too sensible to the touch. All right. I did that already. Actually, I did already put some lube, fader lube, the F100. And that gave it a slightly better feel, the potentiometers, but not enough. So that's why I'm going to do the real thing with fader grease. I will link in the same video where you are watching this. There is a playlist. In that playlist you will find somebody else that recorded exactly how he opens the potentiometers to put the grease in the right place of those potentiometers. It's not something that you can do externally. You have to open the potentiometers for that. Now, another comment that I take the opportunity to make is, if you have that the potentiometer and those black lines, if you wonder like, hey, my turntable doesn't have those black lines, that's correct. That's just done with a pen. I will clean it or wipe it later with alcohol. It's just for my reference to know, okay, that is the position that I want the potentiometers to have. So I've been twisting the potentiometer a couple of times to know what is the middle position. So right now they are, if I was putting this potentiometer on top, it will twist equally to the left than to the right. Yeah, like I said, as you see, the potentiometers are slightly differently aligned because every potentiometer will have that center point during the assembly in a slightly different position. And yeah, what I want to say is, let's imagine that you have that the potentiometers have been for years and years on the same position, and that position just is a bit damaged on the potentiometer. So you have again those speed problems, but if you twist it right or left, then you get a stable speed. Not the right speed, but a stable speed. So what you could do is twist these two potentiometers, make them a bit faster or slower, make the turning of the platter a bit faster or slower, so that when you compensate with this potentiometer to get it correct again, maybe that this becomes the sweet spot where the speed is the correct one. However, it's a new position of the potentiometer, different to the one that it has been sitting for decades. Right, so what we are trying to basically is, if you buy one of these turntables and it has been sitting in exactly the same position for 40 years, pointing in that angle, and these two potentiometers also in the same angles, you have cleaned them, but you still have that at the precise place where the speed is correct. You have problems, deviate a little bit with these two potentiometers so that you compensate then with these two potentiometers the right speed, but in a totally different position than that they have been sitting all these years. All right, so I take this away. And we will be also doing some lubing of the 3345 speed selection. We will see it now in a moment as I twist the turntable. Why do I want to lube? And we will see the repair that I had to do with this mini drill. Because the axe, there is a metal axe going into a plastic. Now also these axes over the right side go into components, and those components go into finally plastic components. But this speed adjustment goes into a black plastic that gave away, and there was a crack on the plastic. So I did use some metal rings which I had to shape in the way that I needed. You will see it now in a moment. And to shape those rings, I did use one of these mini drills. This is a popular brand here in Europe. You will have probably some other brand in your region. So yeah, let's just twist the turntable and show you that speed selection plastic that cracked. So I left it with just 2 screws so that I could quickly take it off during the video. By the way, I take the opportunity to show you the feet that you saw in the other videos. They have now some extra spacers. I don't know if you can see them in the camera, but there is a metal spacer in there so that the feet is a bit higher so that it can move freely, so that it does its job very nicely when it's sitting on top of the feet. Let me put it closer to the camera. And so I hope you can see it. So these are the 2 potentiometer cases that we will be opening up. For that we will be unscrewing the frame so that it floats and giving me room enough to dismantle the cases. And inside the cases, as I said, in that other video that I will be linking, you will see exactly how to lube with the fader grease those 2 potentiometers. Now, if you're comparing this with your turntable, this is the 2 metal rings. You don't see that you cannot see that they are 2 because they are stapled one on top of the other, and they are now also glued. But these metal rings is what I've had to shape to put some force against the plastic, because there is a crack over here that goes all the way top to bottom, and I think to remember the other crack is over here or over here. Doesn't matter. The thing is that the plastic was not holding tight anymore to the axe. Good enough that it was still moving the mechanism. There is here a plastic component that is moving with the 2 positions of the speed selector, and that is then putting pressure on the switch, and the switch is then changing the speed to one potentiometer or the other and connected to the circuit board. So like as you can see probably in the video, I had to cut approximately some 25 degrees of the ring open so that it could go on top. And because if I take off this clip, all right, you will see that I had to bite an indent in those rings, because when this component is in the, I think it's in the 33 position, as you can see, this side or this part of the plastic was touching the metal ring, so it was not able to engage totally in the position. So I needed to cut in that metal ring to give this component a bit of space to move freely, releasing the switch totally. And when it moves to the other position, you see it presses the switch, switching the speed obviously. So if you have, you probably have the same problem in your unit, my guess. because that type of plastic apparently isn't as well behaved as some of the other plastics used in this turntable, although there isn't that much of plastic actually in this turntable. There is a lot of metal parts. But yeah, that's the only component that I found using that type of plastic. All the other plastics so far haven't given an issue, and you might have seen already in the video some of the lubing.